Chapter 3848. Striking for Eternity. A furious roar echoed across the sky. A Tao Lord's voice spread throughout the Origin continent. Everyone on the Origin continent heard this voice. Some worried for Lin Moyu, while others sneered, ready to watch the show. Antares said,
"That guy is the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. He died once before and was resurrected by the Hell Alliance leader, so he's not really dead."
Lin Moyu nodded. He stood motionless within his formation and called out loudly,
"If you've got guts, come down here."
His tone was full of disdain and mockery. Everyone knew that as long as Lin Moyu didn't go out, those Tao Lords couldn't do anything to him. The power of a Tao Lord was too great and could easily damage the Origin continent. If the Origin continent was harmed, they would all suffer heavenly punishment. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly,
"Lin Moyu, don't think hiding means you're safe. You can hide, but your forces can't. I'll give you 3/4 of an hour. If you don't come up, don't blame us for dragging others into this."
They threatened Lin Moyu by targeting Yuedao City, which everyone knew was his stronghold. Unable to deal with Lin Moyu directly, they turned to threaten Yuedao City. But Lin Moyu remained unmoved, not reacting at all. This silent response was itself a mockery of the outer great Tao powerhouses, leaving them looking embarrassed. 3/4 of an hour passed quickly. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord's icy voice rang out again.
"Since you want to be a turtle hiding in its shell, don't blame us."
4 first-tier innate soul Tao realm cultivators descended from the outer great Tao, flying toward Yuedao City. In their eyes, mere Yuedao City could be easily destroyed by just a few first-tier Tao realm experts. Some onlookers were puzzled.
Didn't Lin Moyu have Tao Lords helping him before? Where are they now? Yeah, didn't those Tao Lords say anyone who attacked Lin Moyu would be their enemy? Why aren't they showing up? I heard they went to the Tao struggle and haven't come back yet. All of them? What a coincidence. Who knows, maybe Lin Moyu used up all his favors.
Speculation swirled as everyone watched the 4 Tao realm experts arrive above Yuedao City. From the outer great Tao, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord gave a final ultimatum.
Lin Moyu, last chance, come up and die, or this city will be wiped out.
Lin Moyu snorted coldly.
Try it if you dare.
He looked unconcerned, refusing to come out. The 4 Tao realm experts roared in anger and attacked together. Suddenly, sword light erupted. Yuedao City burst forth with fierce sword radiance, transforming into 10,000 rays that shot into the sky, piercing through to the outer great Tao. Within the sword light, the 4 first-tier innate soul Tao realm experts screamed as their bodies and souls were annihilated. They died on the spot. Everyone was stunned. Yuedao City actually had a hidden powerhouse who, with one strike, killed 4 top-tier Tao realm experts. These weren't low-level Tao realm cultivators, they were first-tier, just below Tao Lords. And they were killed just like that? What level of strength was that? The outer great Tao fell silent. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord sneered bitterly, gritting his teeth.
So there was a Tao Lord hiding here after all.
His tone was full of dread. In his view, anyone who could instantly kill 4 first-tier Tao realm experts had to be a Tao Lord, and a very strong one at that. That Tao Lord hadn't revealed themselves, and they didn't know when he'd arrived. To hide right under their noses, his strength had to be extraordinary. No wonder Lin Moyu was so fearless with such a being guarding Yuedao City. Who could do anything to it? Lin Moyu didn't answer. At this moment, his expression grew solemn. He felt the barrier between himself and the great Tao rapidly thinning. An invisible pressure was spreading. His gaze pierced the outer great Tao, seeing the mists beyond the world. The mists were being churned by an invisible force. In the soul void, the skeleton generals he had stationed everywhere sent back messages. There was a similar pressure spreading. Within the world, time suddenly began to slow, and space became viscous. Yet, the living beings inside the world felt nothing. Even Antares was unaware, as if nothing had changed. The world began to take form. The world will was manifesting as a giant. The real world and the soul void were synchronizing. The world will spanned both, transforming into a giant. The giant was like someone newly awakened, eyes still closed, struggling to coalesce.
The world will is awakening.
Lin Moyu sent his intent into a translucent jade slip, notifying the discernment beast. The jade slip vibrated lightly, indicating the discernment beast understood. In his soul world, the twilight drum and morning bell appeared. With a thought, Lin Moyu struck them, summoning the two emperors. The world will's awakening wasn't instantaneous, it would take some time, maybe half a day, maybe several days. As long as the discernment beast arrived before it fully awakened and used the Golden Furnace Emperor's innate origin treasure to pin down the world will, the rest could be left to the morning bell and twilight drum emperors. Outside the origin continent in the soul void, several phantom bodies awakened, serving as Lin Moyu's eyes to observe the world will from different angles and distances. These phantoms inhabited innate virtual treasures, allowing Lin Moyu to see from afar. The giant formed by the world will was becoming whole, its aura violent and powerful, shaking the soul void. The discernment beast had said that the current world will was essentially an evil will battle-hungry, ruthless, willing to destroy an era for its own sake. Even if its intelligence had been erased by the human sovereign's spirit-seizing technique, its instinct for battle remained undiminished. Many world wills in the Jumu Great Spirit domain were the same. As the world will awakened, the great Taos of heaven and earth grew chaotic, affecting most cultivators. The outer great Tao fell silent, they stopped harassing Lin Moyu, their thoughts forcibly interrupted by some power. In that moment, the powerhouses of the outer great Tao lost the ability to think. Lin Moyu waited quietly. He had prepared everything. Now he could only watch and wait. He couldn't leave the origin continent now, he could only sit still like everyone else, so as not to arouse suspicion. A day later, the world will had mostly recovered. It took the form of a giant, standing in the void, roaring endlessly. The chaotic mists were swept away by its roars, vanishing completely. Lin Moyu's phantom bodies, relying on innate virtual treasures, barely withstood the shock. The world will grew ever more complete, the entire world glowing faintly, and a unique aura was brewing. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat.
It's trying to break through to eternity.
Everything was happening faster than expected. Destiny ended decades early, and the world will immediately began its breakthrough, no hesitation at all. As the world will struck for eternity, all great Taos were severed, and finally people realized something was wrong.
The great Tao, why can't I sense it anymore? What's happening? My connection is gone too. What's going on? The great Tao, why is the Tao gone?
Chapter 3849. Slumber for 10,000 years. Countless people panicked as they lost their connection to the great Tao, unable to use any of their cultivation. Lin Moyu knew very well that when the world will attempted to break through to eternity, it would sever all great Taos, gathering all their power into itself. The next step would be sacrifice, using the power of countless Taos and living beings to nurture its own eternal chi. He possessed 6 great Taos, but 5 of them were now unusable, only the immortality great Tao remained unaffected. Antares lowered his gaze.
Is it really like this?
Lin Moyu nodded slightly.
Don't panic.
Antares haughtily raised his dragon eyes.
Who's panicking?
But the next second, he couldn't help but ask.
Are you sure it'll be all right?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Hard to say. We can only wait.
At this point, there was nothing he could do but wait. He trusted the discernment beast. He was sure it wouldn't betray him. Suddenly, he looked up and, through the world's mists, saw a figure. Lin Mohan had suddenly appeared in the world mist, sword in hand, ready to strike at any moment. Lin Moyu didn't know why he could suddenly see Lin Mohan from such a distance. Especially since she was hidden in the mist, even the world will couldn't see her. But he saw her and sensed her battle intent. In the soul void, a phantom body suddenly saw a massive rift, and the discernment beast burst out from it. Alongside it was the Golden Furnace Emperor. The Golden Furnace Emperor held a golden cauldron, which flew out and rapidly expanded, casting 10,000 rays of golden light onto the world will. The world will shuddered. its massive head turning to glare at the Golden Furnace Emperor.
Who are you?
Its voice boomed, shaking the soul void. The Golden Furnace Emperor didn't speak, only shone the golden cauldron's light on the world will. Bathed in the golden radiance, the world will seemed unharmed, but its breakthrough to eternity was interrupted. Under the golden light, it withdrew its form and retreated into the world. Only then could Lin Moyu's plan proceed. The Golden Furnace Emperor and the Discernment Beast didn't attack. They simply used the treasure to lock the world will in place. Moments later, two powerful auras tore through the void. Lin Moyu suddenly sheathed her sword and left, vanishing into the mist. Lin Moyu noticed this and realized she had withdrawn because of the arrival of the Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor. As for how she knew, there was no need to guess. Someone must have told her. He had long suspected the person behind Lin Moyu was the white-robed elder who controlled the ancestral water gourd, and now he was sure. Within the origin continent, Lin Moyu quietly said,
"Come into my soul world."
Antares immediately split off a soul and entered Lin Moyu's soul world. Inside, Lin Moyu projected what was happening in the soul void and explained,
"That's the Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor."
He had already told Antares about his plan, so Antares understood. Next, the void shattered, and the Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors arrived. The two emperors said nothing, simply drove their treasures to attack the world will. Previously, the Golden Furnace Emperor hadn't moved, so the world will hadn't attacked either. Now, the world will roared in fury and fought back, countless great Daos appearing as millions of weapons slashing at the two emperors. The world will was powerful, only a step away from eternity, and had once defeated the world wills of the Black Blood and Heavenly God realms. But compared to emperors who had already reached eternity, let alone two at once, it was still lacking. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors attacked together, easily suppressing the origin continent's world will. No matter how it resisted, it was useless. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum combined their powers, forming space-time force. The world will's countless cause and effect Daos shattered at a touch. Space-time force swept forth, and the world will screamed in agony. In its rage, the world will drew on the power of the world, trying to use the strength of all living beings. Even Lin Moyu could only watch, unable to stop it.
Time reversal.
The two emperors acted in unison, reversing time and forcibly interrupting the world will's extraction. Its aura plummeted, space-time reversed, and all the wounds it had accumulated over countless years reappeared and erupted. The world will collapsed in agony, unable to maintain its form. The two emperors withdrew their attacks, not pursuing further. The Golden Furnace Emperor also withdrew his treasure. The world will, now shattered, struggled to form a pair of giant eyes, glaring hatefully at the emperors before dissipating. Lin Moyu let out a long breath.
It's done.
The great Daos returned. He could sense that the world will had fallen into slumber once more. At this moment, the Twilight Drum in his soul world spoke.
Lin friend, this world will was wounded by the power of time. It will sleep for at least 10,000 years.
10,000 years was the limit anymore, and the emperors would have to bear even greater karmic burdens. Lin Moyu sent a message.
Thank you, Emperor. 10,000 years is enough.
The Twilight Drum Emperor nodded.
In that case, we'll take our leave. Lin friend, come visit us if you have the chance.
Lin Moyu smiled.
If I get the chance, I'll be sure to visit.
The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors left without saying a word to the Golden Furnace Emperor. Then the Discernment Beast's voice sounded.
I've done what I promised. We're even. If you need anything else, remember to bring something to trade.
Lin Moyu didn't haggle.
Thank you, Senior. I understand.
The Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor vanished into the void, and everything returned to calm. Antares was still stunned, unable to react.
That's it. It's over?
He'd been anxious for so long, ready to die, and yet it was all over in just a few moves. Felt unreal hard to accept. Lin Moyu laughed.
Isn't that a good thing? I thought there'd be a huge battle, with back and forth fighting and massive destruction. But the origin continent's world was so easily suppressed. Turns out, if you haven't reached eternity, you're still far off.
Antares said,
I don't know how strong eternity really is, but it must be incredibly strong. Maybe it's like the difference between a Tao Lord and a Tao Realm cultivator, just worlds apart.
With his intelligence, he couldn't describe it better, but Lin Moyu thought the analogy was at least close enough. If an emperor truly wanted to wipe out the origin continent, it wouldn't be hard, he just hadn't paid enough. Lin Moyu said,
All right, now that the world is asleep again, it's time to deal with those guys in the sky. Once that's done, I'll go with you to the Dragon Clan, and then I'll go searching for the true path to transcendence.
Antares said,
Once this is over, I'll go with you.
Lin Moyu grinned.
Good, that way I won't have to fly myself.
Antares glared fiercely.
You want to use me as a mount?
Lin Moyu laughed.
You said it yourself, don't blame me.
Antares snorted twice and left the soul world. Lin Moyu slowly stood up, looked toward the outer great Tao, and said word by word,
Time to settle accounts.
Chapter 3850, History is written by the victors.
I've put up with them long enough.
Antares trembled all over, his dragon scales standing on end, excitement and bloodlust in his voice. Lin Moyu said,
Let me be clear. Anyone at first tier innate soul or above is mine. The rest are yours.
Antares turned his big head.
You looking down on me?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Of course not. Save your strength for after we're done here. We're heading to the Dragon Clan. That's where you'll really shine.
Antares thought about it and decided it made sense.
All right, I'll listen to you. These people have been an eyesore for a long time. Can you handle them?
Lin Moyu smiled lightly.
Isn't that what you're here for? If I can't handle it, you can jump in and help, right?
Antares snorted.
Of course. With me here, there's nothing to fear from them.
Lin Moyu's words pleased him greatly. Antares snorted twice, looking very happy. For years, he'd been watched by countless eyes, unable to fight back and not good at arguing. He'd been holding back a lot of frustration. This time, he could finally let it out. Man and dragon slowly rose into the sky, leaving the origin continent and entering the outer great Tao. With the origin continents once again in slumber, Lin Moyu's plan had succeeded, and he was finally free of worries, ready to give his all. At this moment, in the outer great Tao, the many powerhouses had all regained their senses. Unlike Lin Moyu, they had no idea what had just happened. To them, their minds had just blanked out for a moment, as if nothing had occurred. They didn't even realize their connection to the great Tao had been severed. Now, seeing Lin Moyu leave the origin continent, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord sneered.
Finally willing to come out.
With a wave of his hand, everyone sprang into action. The many experts of the Hell Alliance all glared murderously at Lin Moyu. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly,
Lin Moyu, today is your death day. Any last words?
Lin Moyu looked at them and sighed softly.
The tragedy of ants is that they don't understand the heavens, the human heart, or the roots of all things. Even though you've cultivated to this point, you know nothing of the world or the true Tao. I'll send you on to the soul void for reincarnation. Maybe in your next life, you'll understand the order of heaven and earth.
The Yellow Springs Tao Lord frowned.
Are you crazy? You're just a Tao realm cultivator, and you dare talk to me like this? Your realm.
He suddenly froze. Not only him, but the others also paused. Lin Moyu had entered the outer great Tao, and his realm was now clear to all.
First tier innate soul Tao realm, how is that possible? Not even 1,000 years, and you've reached first tier innate soul? How did you do it? Impossible. Even with heaven's reward and destiny, you couldn't possibly be this fast.
Lin Moyu's cultivation shattered their understanding. They couldn't believe someone could reach first-tier innate soul in less than 1,000 years. Yet Lin Moyu had done it right before their eyes. What did that make all those who had cultivated for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years? Lin Moyu said,
That's why you don't understand the Tao, nor the world. How pitiful.
After the initial shock, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly,
So what if you're first to innate soul? You'll die today all the same.
Defensive fortresses flew in from all directions, forming a battle array and encircling the land. These fortresses had been repaired. They were the front lines that resisted foreign invaders during the Origin Calamity. Built with the best technology, formations, and materials from all the Outer Great Tao's top experts. Each fortress was a gigantic puppet factory, capable of producing endless battle puppets. Even if the puppets weren't strong individually, their numbers made up for it. Countless shadows flew out from the fortress's puppets of all shapes and sizes, filling the void and surrounding Lin Moyu and Antares from all sides. Each puppet radiated an aura close to third-tier innate soul Tao realm, stronger than those from the Origin Calamity. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly,
I know you have many puppets, but over the years, we've repaired the fortresses and created 100 billion puppet army. You won't even make it past them.
Lin Moyu looked at the endless sea of puppets. They all had a similar aura. Antares grew agitated, muttering,
Those Dragon Clan bastards really did come.
The reason these puppets were stronger than before was because of the Dragon Clan. The aura they emitted was that of the Dragon Clan. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said,
That's right. The Dragon Clan provided us with ancestral dragon blood, greatly boosting the puppet's strength. You were once the Dragon Crown Prince, but after betraying the clan, you were punished. Everyone thought you were dead, but you survived. Looks like the punishment wasn't harsh enough.
Antares was furious.
Bullshit.
To him, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord's words were pure distortion and nonsense. Lin Moyu said,
History is always written by the victors. There's no need to get angry. When you attack the Dragon Clan and kill those who wronged you, you'll be the one to write the Dragon Clan's history. Only the living have the right to tell future generations what happened. The dead can only stay silent.
Hearing this, Antares gradually calmed down.
You're right. Back then, I was the loser, so they could say whatever they wanted. But from now on, my words will be history.
Lin Moyu looked at the Yellow Springs Tao Lord.
You seem to have misunderstood something. I don't have any puppets. And 100 billion? That's really not enough.
Snap! Lin Moyu snapped his fingers. Space twisted violently, and countless skeleton generals appeared out of thin air. Their terrifying auras merged into one, surging toward the outer Great Tao and shaking everyone's soul. As Lin Moyu's realm rose closer to Tao Lord, the skeleton general's power rose as well. Now, each skeleton general was first-tier innate soul and high-level at that. Their numbers were beyond counting. At a glance, they outnumbered the puppet army. All the Tao realm cultivators were stunned. Then, a chill rose from the depths of their souls, sweeping through their bodies. Some looked terrified. Some trembled. Higher realm, greater strength. More numbers, how could they possibly fight this? The Yellow Springs Tao Lord was also shocked.
Impossible.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
That's why you know nothing of true power.
Tack. With a thought, the skeleton generals attacked in unison. In an instant, boundless sword energy swept through the void. The so-called 100 billion puppets shattered in the sword light, turning into endless fragments. The fragments were devoured by the sword energy, leaving not even a trace behind. The skeleton generals scattered like deadly hornets, slaughtering in all directions, ripping the encirclement to shreds in moments. Chapter 3851. Not a monster, he's a prodigy. The puppet army couldn't withstand the assault of the skeleton generals at all. They collapsed in an instant and were wiped out in no time. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord's eyes widened. They had already done everything possible to estimate Lin Moyu's strength, but still found they had underestimated him. After hundreds of years of preparation, they thought victory was assured. Some even said,
Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken?
They'd even factored in the Tao Lords backing Lin Moyu. But what greeted them was Lin Moyu's terrifying counterattack. This counterattack shattered all their plans. Watching the puppet army collapse, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord gritted his teeth.
You're not dead yet, are you?
The power of the Hell Great Tao surged forth like a waterfall from the heavens, forcibly opening a path straight toward Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu snorted, snapped his fingers again, and space-twisted a Legion commander appeared before him. Then, 10 million dragon riders appeared. The Legion commander raised his warblade, and with a metallic screech declared,
"Bloody charge!"
A blood and bone avenue manifested, with the dragon cavalry riding the Great Tao, transforming into a sharp arrow that shot straight at the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. The single combat strength of the dragon riders was no less than the skeleton generals. 10 million dragon riders united, riding the blood and bone avenue, launched their charge. There's a gap between first-tier innate soul and a Tao Lord, but that gap can be bridged. One person's strength couldn't match the Yellow Springs Tao Lord, but the combined might of 10 million dragon riders could surpass him. The two great Taos collided just as the Yellow Springs Tao Lord attacked. He was sent flying back by the overwhelming force, and the great Tao he summoned shattered on the spot. With a single blow, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord was already injured. The Legion commander pressed the attack, leading the dragon cavalry to pursue. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord fought back in desperation, but was quickly suppressed and fell into disadvantage. Meanwhile, the skeleton generals finished off the puppet army and charged toward the defensive fortresses. The Tao realm experts all looked shocked as they fought the Legion commander. Antares charged out with a dragon's roar, targeting those below first-tier innate soul. His jaws opened, unleashing a torrent of dragon breath. For a moment, the outer Great Tao was in chaos. In the distance, the Tao realm experts who had come to spectate were all dumbfounded. No one expected the battle to turn out like this. They had thought Lin Moyu was doomed, but he hadn't even lifted a finger, just snapped his fingers twice and crushed all their arrangements. These outer Great Tao powerhouses felt as if they'd been slapped in the face by this young man from the Origin continent. Within the Origin continent, many watched the battle as well. Some worried for Lin Moyu, but now it seemed that worry was completely unnecessary. In Yuedao City, Little Mist and the others cheered in delight. Lin Moyu's victory made them the happiest of all. The defensive fortresses were destroyed, but their fragments didn't go to waste. The skeleton generals diligently gathered them up for Lin Moyu. The materials used to forge the fortresses were all top tier. They could be put into the myriad worlds, refined and transformed into materials belonging to the myriad worlds, saving much time in world evolution. The battle lasted only a short while before a massive aura surged from deep within the outer Great Tao. Avenues appeared in the Void Hell Alliance powerhouses had finally arrived. 11 Tao Lords stood atop their Taos, their pressure blanketing the sky. Originally, they'd planned to deal with the third ancestor and the others, but those Tao Lords hadn't shown up while the Yellow Springs Tao Lord side was already defeated. The battle had moved so quickly that by the time they reacted, Lin Moyu alone had already decimated the Yellow Springs Tao Lord's forces. Lin Moyu sneered.
"You're a bit late."
The Hell Alliance had a total of 13 Tao Lords. Their leader was the most mysterious, rumored to be extremely powerful, likely an Origin Tao Lord. But no one knew which Great Tao he truly mastered. Compared to the leader, the other 12 Tao Lords were all branch Tao Lords like the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. In Lin Moyu's eyes, branch Tao Lords were nothing special. This time, the Hell Alliance had mobilized its entire force. Aside from the leader, everyone else was here. Accompanying the Tao Lords were tens of thousands of Tao realm powerhouses. Among them, there were over 1,000 first-tier innate souls. But when they saw the endless skeleton generals, their Tao hearts nearly collapsed. There were simply too many skeleton generals, so many that they lost the will to fight. They instinctively felt there was no way to win. The 11 Tao Lords who arrived split into two groups. 3 Tao Lords led their forces toward the Origin continent, heading straight for Yuedao City. The other 8 Tao Lords drove their Taos at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu ignored those heading for Yuedao City and snapped his fingers again. In an instant, 100 Legion commanders appeared, and over 100 million dragon riders roared in the void, forming countless blood and bone avenues.
"Bloody charge!"
The Legion commanders swung their warblades, transforming into a torrent that surged forward. great Daos collided. Several Dao lords were knocked flying, swept up by the overwhelming force, unable to control their flight. Countless skeleton generals attacked from all directions, bringing utter despair. The dragon cavalry surrounded the Dao lords, led by the legion commanders, launching a frenzied assault. And the mastermind, Lin Moyu, still stood there motionless. He was the orchestrator of this battle, now the biggest spectator with the best view. The three Dao lords led their forces into the origin continent, charging straight for Yuedao City. Within Yuedao City, endless sword energy soared. The Dao lords wielded their Daos to resist the sword energy. Outside Yuedao City, the formation roared, and two five-elements giants emerged from underground, shielding the city. The artifact spirit Dai Tu wielded the sky-piercing sword, unleashing endless sword energy, keeping the three Dao lords at bay. Shao Jin stomped the earth, the origin spirit veins roared, and endless spiritual energy poured into the formation. A single punch was thrown. One punch became 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. In an instant, the world was filled with fist shadows. Though not a treasure, this punch was stronger than any treasure. With a single punch, the three Dao lords were blasted out of the origin continent, their Daos shattered. They were hurled back into the battlefield, where the legion commanders and dragon cavalry completed the encirclement. Below Dao Lord, none survived. A single punch wiped them out. After countless years of cultivation, those Dao realm experts died so simply.
What kind of formation is that? How can a formation be so strong? Even the formation Dao Lord couldn't do this. This is Lin Moyu's work, his formation. No wonder he wasn't worried about Yuedao City. Whoever comes dies. Is Lin Moyu a monster? How can he be this strong? He's not a monster, he's a prodigy, an absolute prodigy.
Lin Moyu's strength had surpassed everyone's expectations. To the outer great Dao powerhouses, Lin Moyu's strength was utterly unreasonable. But Lin Moyu didn't care what others thought his strength was for him to define, not for others to judge. His gaze turned cold as he looked toward the void.
Hell Alliance leader, how long do you plan to keep hiding?
Chapter 3852. The Gate of Hell opens. The Hell Alliance had mobilized nearly all its forces, with only its leader remaining unseen. He hid in the void, escaping everyone's notice except Lin Moyu's. Under the eye of the undead, very few could conceal themselves. Suddenly, the void turned blood-red, with endless wails and screams piercing straight into the soul, making one nauseous. Cultivators who heard this felt their souls tremble, their bodies go weak, and were unable to muster any strength at all. Amid the crimson light, a patch of ominous ground slowly emerged, as if hell itself had descended upon the world, filling all who saw it with dread. A cold, sinister voice echoed through the void.
I didn't expect to be exposed by a little brat.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
So you really did inherit the Hell Lord's Dao.
Back then, the Hell Lord had faked his death to escape, his great Dao shattering and returning to the world. It was only natural that a successor would appear. Most of the Hell fragments had ended up in the outer Great Dao, with only a small part entering the origin continent. Someone who inherited the Hell Lord's legacy and gathered the Hell fragments could quickly advance. It all made sense. During the world will's slumber, no one would interfere. Even if he learned some of the Hell Lord's secrets from the fragments, it didn't matter. Still, Lin Moyu doubted the Hell Lord would have left behind anything truly dangerous, but the human heart is the hardest thing to predict.
The former Hell Lord, whose Dao heart was broken and became the other Shore Realm Lord. Let's see how much courage this new Hell Lord has.
Lin Moyu thought to himself. He called out,
I wonder how much of the Hell Lord's Dao you've inherited?
The Hell Alliance leader laughed coldly.
He's dead. Now I am the Hell Lord. Hell will devour you.
As he spoke, Hell expanded, covering a vast area and trapping 1,000,000 skeleton generals inside. Ferocious Hell spirits surged out, clashing and entangling with the skeleton generals. His Hell spirits were different from those in the Bone Hell, more savage, but missing something more like wild beasts. Lin Moyu saw the difference at a glance. His own hell spirits could devour anything, while the others could only bite and crush, not truly consume. In comparison, his bone hell was far stronger. The mysterious Hell Alliance leader revealed himself, causing all the Tao realm cultivators to retreat far away in fear.
So he's the new Hell Lord. He inherited the former Hell Lord's Tao. No wonder it's called the Hell Alliance. It really is. The former Hell Lord was tyrannical and invincible. Who knows how strong his successor is? He seems powerful, or else the other Tao Lords wouldn't follow him so obediently.
Even after 10 million years, the Hell Lord's legend remained, and people still feared him. After all, he was once the strongest in the origin continent, even forcibly refining the lunar ancestral dragon, which scared the solar ancestral dragon into fleeing far away. Now, how could his successor be weak? Hell descended, devouring countless skeleton generals. A colossal gate of hell stood at its center, with the Hell Alliance leader atop it, his posture eerily similar to the legendary Hell Lord. Hell continued to expand, as if it would swallow the entire battlefield. But while it frightened others, it did not frighten Lin Moyu. In his eyes, this gate of hell was nothing, completely useless. The Hell Great Tao was the same. He had countless ways to kill his opponent. But since hell had appeared, he wouldn't waste the opportunity. Lin Moyu pointed a finger. Space twisted violently, and the bone hell appeared. The two hells collided with a thunderous crash, terrifying power surging in all directions. With a roar, Heiyu, the netherworld black dragon, charged straight at the Hell Alliance leader, spewing dragon breath. For nearly 1,000 years, the bone hell had become the dark side of the myriad worlds, the place where all souls went after death. It seemed as if it devoured nothing, but in truth, it was constantly feeding every moment, every second. It no longer consumed only powerful beings and treasures, but the original essence of all living things. Its effect was no less than that of any treasure. As the number of living beings in the myriad worlds grew, the bone hell's consumption increased, and Heiyu only grew stronger. Now, the bone hell was even stronger than Lin Moyu himself, capable of devouring even Tao Lords. The two hells clashed, their spirits erupting into a fierce battle. Heiyu went straight for the Hell Alliance leader, unleashing dragon breath and roars.
You have a hell too?
For the first time, a trace of panic appeared in the Hell Alliance leader's voice. Lin Moyu sneered.
Looks like you haven't done your homework on me.
The Hell Alliance leader roared in anger, unleashing wave after wave of attacks with the Hell Great Tao. Heiyu opened his jaws wide, swallowing all the attacks whole. Once refined by the Hell Lord, Heiyu was essentially part of hell itself and retained some of that power. Attacks from hell meant nothing to him. The other shore flower, Bianhua, swayed, illuminating the outer Great Tao. All Tao realm cultivators felt their bodies grow heavy, their power greatly diminished. The other shore flower was a symbol of hell now present in the bone hell, but absent from the Hell Alliance leader's hell. If you had to judge which was real, Lin Moyu's bone hell was the genuine article. The Hell Alliance leader was battered by Heiyu's attacks. His own power proving useless, he was left frustrated and helpless. He rushed to the gate of hell and slammed his palm down. The gate of hell thundered open, but this was not the same gate as before. The former Hell Lord, even at his death, never opened the gate of hell, knowing it was pointless and that only a clone would die. He only wanted to escape the world will's grasp as quickly as possible. But this Hell Alliance leader didn't care, opening the gate of hell directly. Behind the gate, endless hellfire spewed forth, and the true power of the Hell Great Tao surged out.
Lin Moyu, this is the first time I've opened the gate of hell. To let you see it before you die is a blessing for you.
He seemed utterly confident that the gate of hell would kill Lin Moyu. The power of the Hell Great Tao raged, blasting Heiyu aside. The Hell Alliance leader stood atop the gate.
Even if you have countless puppets, hell's beasts are endless. You'll be worn down and die eventually.
Lin Moyu looked at him.
Do you know why the former Hell Lord only opened the gate of hell once?
The Hell Alliance leader snorted.
With his strength, he didn't need to rely on the gate of hell.
Lin Moyu shook his head.
because he didn't want to start a Tao struggle.
As soon as he finished speaking, wild laughter echoed from behind the gate of hell.
Finally, someone has opened the gate of hell again. At last, my hell great Tao is complete.
Chapter 38:53. Weak, too weak. Lin Moyu recalled something the former Lord of Hell, now the Lord of the Other Shore, once said. Back then, he'd asked what exactly was behind the gate of hell before the Lord of Hell fused with it. The answer, boiled down, was just 4 words. Tao struggle, Da Dao Zhengfeng. The Hell Great Tao is an origin Great Tao, but also a projected Great Tao. It's a very special Tao. To conduct a Tao struggle, it doesn't need to seek out worlds or other Tao lords. It only needs to open the gate of hell to initiate a Tao struggle. Throughout history, countless people have opened the gate of hell, launching one Tao struggle after another. In the end, a powerful being would stand out, surpassing most Hell Tao lords. That being would be very close to the true body Tao Lord of the Hell Great Tao. That's why, after opening the gate of hell once, the former Lord of Hell gave up on the idea of Tao struggle and forged a different path, becoming a world lord. But then he encountered the world will and had to give up again. He was lucky enough to obtain that gate, as well as the Shirtion Stone and the Immortal Jade, and managed to escape disaster. But this time, the Hell Alliance leader had no idea what was behind the gate of hell. When he heard the voice, he was clearly stunned. A figure, completely shrouded in magma, appeared behind the gate of hell, exuding a terrifying aura. The gate, which had only been half open, now fully opened. The Hell Alliance leader suddenly realized he had lost control of the gate of hell. That magma figure filled him with terror. The other party also radiated the aura of the Hell Great Tao, but much stronger than his own. The Hell Alliance leader suddenly realized what was happening and blurted out,
Tao struggle.
Lin Moyu chuckled and shook his head.
Not too stupid. You dared to open the gate without even knowing what's behind it. Prepare to face your Tao struggle. But you're dead for sure.
Lin Moyu had seen a true body Tao Lord before and knew how strong they were, just a step below eternity. A powerful true body Tao Lord could go head-to-head with the Origin Continent's world will at its peak. The Hell Alliance leader was nothing in comparison. The Magma Man stepped out from behind the gate of hell and looked up at the Hell Alliance leader.
You're the last one I need for my Tao.
His raspy voice seemed to tug at the soul. Others just found it uncomfortable, but to the Hell Alliance leader it was agony. Magma surged, hellfire roared upward, and shot straight at the Hell Alliance leader. He stood frozen, unable to move, and as the Lord of Hell approached, he suddenly exploded in a scream.
Weak, truly too weak. I remember this gate of hell. The last guy who opened it wasn't this weak. He was quick to flee, so I didn't make it in time. But no matter, a Tao struggle is a Tao struggle. You'll complete my Tao.
His words were like a death sentence for the Hell Alliance leader, who screamed and struggled, but it was useless. His Tao was completely absorbed by the other, his power fading rapidly. Facing this being, the Hell Alliance leader was like a baby facing an adult utterly powerless. In just a few moments, his Tao shattered, and all the power he'd cultivated over countless years vanished. Powerful Tao Lord fell just like that. Although the Hell Alliance leader died, the hell he summoned did not disappear. The Bone Hell continued to battle it, refusing to yield, and gradually gained the upper hand, its hell spirits devouring the other side. The Magma Man's aura kept rising, his Tao roared, and the magma behind the gate of hell raged. A great Tao appeared, piercing the heavens and earth. His aura grew ever stronger, as if he were breaking through the Tao Lord realm and reaching a new level. Lin Moyu understood. He was still a Tao Lord, but had transformed from a projected Tao Lord into a true body Tao Lord. Becoming a true body Tao Lord meant no more need for Tao struggles. He could control the Tao's true body and enter the Origin ancestral land at will. From then on, he was the master of the Hell Great Tao. As long as the Tao existed, he could not die. Though not truly eternal, he now had half a foot in the eternal realm. Unfortunately, the Origin land had no more open spots, so he was destined never to become truly eternal, only to approach it infinitely. The nameless Dao Lord's gaze swept across the battlefield and finally landed on Lin Moyu.
Your hell is interesting.
He could see that Lin Moyu didn't cultivate the Hell Great Dao, but Lin Moyu's bone hell was so similar to the real thing that it piqued his interest. Lin Moyu smiled.
Do you have any advice, Senior?
The Dao Lord mused.
I'm interested in your hell. I'd like to borrow it for a bit.
To have his bone hell targeted, Lin Moyu didn't panic at all.
If you have the ability, you're welcome to try. But let me remind you, becoming a true body Dao Lord is no easy feat. Be careful not to die and lose your Dao.
Lin Moyu's words clearly angered the other. After all, in his eyes, Lin Moyu was just a first-tier innate soul Dao realm cultivator. How could he compare to a true body Dao Lord? In the outer Great Dao, countless people had just witnessed what happened. The Hell Alliance leader was easily devoured, becoming the last stepping stone for the other's ascension. Everyone present knew how powerful that being was. No one could stand against him. Yet Lin Moyu dared to speak to him like that. Wasn't that courting death? The other was clearly amused into anger.
Very well, you'll be the first person I kill after becoming a true body Dao Lord.
Lin Moyu smiled.
You'll have to be able to kill me first.
Space twisted beside him, and 4 elemental liches appeared. One great Dao after another manifested, and 4 pairs of little eyes stared at the newly ascended true body Dao Lord. The true body Dao Lord was about to act, but suddenly paused. He could tell that the 4 elemental liches were summoning the true bodies of their great Daos, not projections. For a moment, his mind stalled, and he blurted out,
What are these things?
Lin Moyu smiled.
That's not your concern. You can try to kill me if you want. But I'll say this, I may not be your match, but I'm absolutely confident I can take you down with me. You might become the shortest-lived true body Dao Lord in all of existence. Are you interested?
Lin Moyu's threat was naked and direct, giving no face at all. Now things were awkward. The true body Dao Lord stood there, unable to decide whether to fight or not. If he fought, he might die. If he didn't, he'd lose face. He hesitated, while Lin Moyu stood motionless, but the 4 elemental liches were already poised to strike. After a moment, the Dao Lord sighed.
You have guts, Daoist friend. May I ask your name?
Lin Moyu replied.
My surname is Lin.
At this point, Lin Moyu knew the other wouldn't make a move, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If possible, he didn't want to fight a true body Dao Lord. The Dao Lord said quietly,
I am Jiangziwen, from the Jumu Great Spirit Domain. If you have the chance, Daoist Lin, you're welcome to visit.
So he was from the Jumu Great Spirit Domain too. Lin Moyu kept a straight face.
I'll remember that. If I get the chance, I'll visit. Take care, Senior Jiang.
Chapter 3854. This show isn't over yet. The gate of hell closed, hell dissipated, and this brief Dao struggle came to an end. Jiang Ziwen left. As a newly ascended true body Dao Lord, even if he'd lost face, so what? Who would dare say a word about it? That would be courting death. Besides, nearly everyone present would never know where the Jumu Great Spirit Domain was. People like Lin Moyu are exceedingly rare. Lin Moyu swept his gaze across the void.
All right, let's continue.
Snap. Another finger snap like the prelude to death's arrival summoned another 10 billion skeleton generals. For Lin Moyu, deploying 20 billion skeleton generals in total was just a drop in the bucket compared to his full strength. But to these outer great Dao cultivators, that number was a cataclysm.
He still has more. How can he still have more? How many puppets does he have? How are we supposed to fight this? It's impossible. Run. If we don't run, we'll die here.
Everyone panicked, desperate to escape. Lin Moyu sneered.
Trying to run?
Power surged, soul force rolled out, and 6 great Daos appeared behind him, extending down and landing at his feet. Lin Moyu wasn't a Dao Lord, yet he stood atop the great Daos, even more terrifying than a Dao Lord. From the start of the battle until now, this was the first time Lin Moyu personally acted. Power, great Dao, divine ability, divine strength. With the divine ability activated, Lin Moyu's aura soared, instantly reaching the peak of first-tier innate soul. Though he hadn't broken through to Tao Lord, he was already not much weaker than one. With the divine abilities boost, all subsequent attacks and spells were amplified 1,000-fold.
Time, reverse.
Lin Moyu gave a low shout. The time Great Tao roared, invisible power flooding out in all directions. In a vast area, time began to flow backward. Those who had just escaped didn't get far before being pulled back. His cultivation might not match a Tao Lord, but his control over the Great Tao was no weaker than any ordinary Tao Lord. With the divine abilities amplification, the effect of time reversal was magnified. Even Tao Lords struggled to resist. The World Tree continuously supplied soul force, letting Lin Moyu manipulate the Great Tao for extended periods. The Hell Alliance's people, affected by the time Great Tao, involuntarily reversed course, not even realizing what was happening. Time reversal merely brought them back. Lin Moyu flicked his finger and activated the third Great Tao. Space Great Tao Divine Ability. Cage. Vast swathes of space were sealed, while space power crashed in from all sides. Endless attacks bombarded the area, filling the air with screams as countless cultivators were pulverized by the Space Great Tao. Even those who survived the space onslaught faced the frenzied slaughter of the skeleton generals. In an instant, blood rained down, falling onto the origin continent, a true blood rain. This blood rain was infused with immense power, containing the essence of the Great Tao. As it merged into the origin continent, it brought vitality and endless benefits to the cultivators living there. The divine abilities of the Great Tao were incredibly effective. Lin Moyu was very satisfied. If the projected Taos were already this strong, then using the true body Taos would be even more devastating. He flicked his finger and activated the fourth Great Tao, the Immortality Great Tao. Great Tao Divine Ability. Life or death. With a thought, the divine ability carrying boundless power descended. Wherever the power of death swept, nothing survived. No matter what powers or treasures the cultivators used, they couldn't withstand the devouring force of death. Treasures corroded and turned to junk. Even powerful bodies and souls were destroyed. Within the space cage, there was no escape. Only the undead Legion and Antares were unaffected. Not only were they unaffected, Antares' power was further enhanced as massive vitality surged into his body, raising his aura as if he were about to break through to Tao Lord. With the divine ability Life or Death, the undead Legion lives, Antares lives, everyone else dies. As the master of the divine ability, Lin Moyu could clearly sense that this one was far more domineering than the others. After all, it directly mobilized the power of the true body Great Tao, completely different from the projected Taos. The projected Taos had to pass through the world will, like a middleman, and were thus always somewhat affected. When Lin Moyu acted, it was a massacre. In just a few moves, nearly all the Tao realm cultivators of the Hell Alliance were dead. Antares shouted in dissatisfaction.
"You're going too far, leave some for me."
Lin Moyu replied,
"Sorry, got carried away."
Antares yelled,
"Doesn't matter. Other than those Tao Lords, the rest are mine."
Lin Moyu readily agreed.
"No problem."
With a thought, the Legion commanders ordered the Dragon Cavalry to ease their assault. The 12 Tao Lords tried again and again to break out, but it was futile. Despair filled their faces, especially after seeing their own leader, after opening the gate of hell, get killed by Jiang Ziwen. Now all hope was lost. The Dragon Cavalry was strong enough to surround and kill Tao Lords, but it took time. Great Tao Divine Ability. Life or Death. Lin Moyu unleashed the divine ability again, death force pouring down. The Tao Lords used their Taos to barely resist, but couldn't hold out for long. With a wave of his hand, he gathered the shattered corpses and fragments. He locked onto one with his will and activated a technique corpse explosion. Boom! A signature explosion echoed across the outer Great Tao. A Tao Lord screamed as a hole was blasted through his body. Though the hole wasn't large, it terrified him. The explosion ignored his defenses, pierced his Tao, and struck directly, truly horrifying. Lin Moyu didn't know this Tao Lord's name or which great Tao he cultivated, it didn't matter. He didn't care what tier of innate soul his target was, also irrelevant. If he died, Lin Moyu would pick another. If not, he'd keep going. Corpse explosion after corpse explosion, the blasts kept coming. When he ran out of corpses, he gathered more and continued. The real world was a bit trickier than the soul void. In the soul void, the district lords could kill Tao lords in just a couple of blows. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, luckily no one heard, or they'd surely call him ruthless. Amid the screams, Tao lords were blown to pieces, one after another. The divine ability sealed space no one could escape. Despair blanketed the entire battlefield. Outside the battlefield, the spectators' faces grew grim. Lin Moyu's power left them speechless. A man who wasn't even a Tao Lord had destroyed the Hell Alliance's painstakingly built defensive fortresses, slain 12 Tao Lords, and wiped out an ancient force that had existed for countless years. Such strength rivaled the legendary Hell Lord himself. Lin Moyu had advanced to the Tao realm right under their noses, reaching this level in less than 1,000 years. People like this were not to be provoked. In many people's hearts, Lin Moyu was now the strongest in the origin continent. Suddenly, someone remembered something and spoke excitedly.
The Dragon Clan is in trouble. That's right, Lin Moyu said he'd attack the Dragon Clan. I hope none of them survive this time. This show isn't over yet, there's more to watch.
Chapter 3855. Arriving at the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan holds a very special status in the Outer Great Tao. They are powerful and domineering, often unreasonable. Most cultivators prefer not to provoke the Dragon Clan, as it's hard to reason with them. Even if you're in the right, you'll suffer. If you're in the wrong, it's even worse. Many times, when the Dragon Clan is unreasonable, they simply use force. They're far better at solving problems through fighting. Over time, their reputation has worsened, and most cultivators dislike the Dragon Clan. Those without powerful backers, especially those from humble origins, resent the dragons even more and can't wait for them to fall. So when Lin Moyu declared he would attack the Dragon Clan, everyone was eager to watch the spectacle. The Hell Alliance used to be dominant, too few dared provoke them on the Outer Great Tao, and now they've been wiped out. It's easy to imagine how, after this war, the places once controlled by the Hell Alliance will be swarmed by enemies, all eager to kick them while they're down. The Hell Alliance is finished. Next up is the Dragon Clan. The great battle ended, and not a single one of the 12 Tao Lords survived. All the Tao realm cultivators they brought were slaughtered as well. The Hell Alliance's top strength was completely wiped out. Vast power now overflowed in the world. When the strong die, their power returns to heaven and earth. This was the Outer Great Tao. If this battle had taken place on the origin continent, it might have created a new sacred land for cultivation. Antares bit down on his last opponent, exclaiming excitedly,
That was great, I haven't fought like this in so many years.
Lin Moyu smiled.
There's more to come. It's time for us to go to the Dragon Clan.
Antares' expression shifted, his smile fading into seriousness.
All right, climb on. I'll take you there.
Lin Moyu landed on Antares' head, and with a dragon's roar, Antares flew toward the solar origin. On the origin continent, there are two origins, solar and lunar. The current Dragon Clan was born from the solar origin, forming the Yang Dragon Great Tao. Their usual home is on the Yang Dragon Great Tao, close to the solar origin. Near the Yang Dragon Great Tao lies a desolate void. Other Taos once existed here, but the powerful Dragon Clan drove them all away now. Nothing remains. Lin Moyu asked,
Are you really sure about this?
Antares replied,
Of course. I've waited countless years for this revenge, of course I'll go through with it.
Though he said this, Lin Moyu could hear a hint of reluctance in his voice. After all, they were his own kind. When it came to exterminating his race, Antares' personality might not allow him to go through with it. He was just tough talking. Deep down, he still felt something for his kin. Lin Moyu wouldn't force him. As long as he achieved his own goals, it wasn't necessary to wipe out the entire Dragon Clan. As they drew closer to the solar origin, the temperature rose rapidly, and the void began to distort under the solar origin's power. Lin Moyu said calmly, "Back then, the solar origin gave birth to the solar ancestral dragon, who founded the Yang Dragon clan. The lunar origin gave birth to the lunar ancestral dragon, but he preferred solitude and didn't found a dragon clan."
That's why your Yang Dragon clan has always been lone. Yang doesn't last. If the lunar ancestral dragon had also founded a clan, and the Yin and Yang Dragon clans could cooperate, maybe you'd be the rulers now.
Antares nodded.
Yes, our records say the ancestral dragon once sought out the lunar ancestral dragon and said something similar, but the lunar ancestral dragon refused.
Lin Moyu asked.
He was later refined into the netherworld black dragon by the Lord of Hell. Do you know why he refused?
Antares replied,
Apparently, it was because their philosophies differed. The records say the lunar dragon felt that cooperation between the two clans wasn't safe and would bring disaster, so he refused.
Lin Moyu could guess why the lunar dragon said that. He must have sensed something and made that decision. The two ancestral dragons were the earliest beings of this era, predating even the human race. If the two clans had joined forces, there would have been no place for humans. But if they grew too strong, with both Yin and Yang, a top-tier powerhouse might emerge and eventually cross the world will's line. That would bring about the destruction of this era. The lunar dragon probably sensed the danger and gave up on founding a clan. As a result, the human race eventually emerged and became the most important group on the origin continent, surpassing the dragons. As they chatted, Antares finally entered the dragon clan's territory. A dragon-shaped great Tao coiled through the void, radiating the solar origin's energy. The Yang Dragon Great Tao has another peculiarity. It doesn't exist in the origin ancestral land. It was formed from the origin continent's solar origin and belongs only to this world. In other words, someone like Antares, though powerful on the origin continent, would lose most of his power if he left it. Then only the Dragon Clan's strong bodies would remain as their source of strength. This applied not just to Antares but to the entire Dragon Clan. So they were strong, but their strength was very limited. Antares hadn't been here in countless years. His eyes were full of memories. Suddenly, his expression turned to rage. Lin Moyu's brows furrowed too, as a surge of anger rose within him. Hundreds of divine dragons were bound and suspended on the Great Tao. All of them were badly injured and on the verge of death. On the Great Tao, a formation was operating, constantly striking the dragons with lightning. The lightning wasn't strong, but it was like countless small knives, torturing the dragons. Among the hundreds of dragons, Lin Moyu recognized one, the Sky Dragon he'd met in the Great World. Back then, the Sky Dragon had helped him, and now he was bound and being tortured. Before Antares could act, Lin Moyu struck first. Great Tao Divine Ability. Cage. The space Great Tao enveloped the formation, smashing it to pieces in an instant. Lin Moyu used brute force to shatter the formation, then used space power to bring all the punished dragons back. He immediately used a second divine ability. Great Tao Divine Ability. Life or death. This time, instead of death, a surge of life force descended, enveloping the dragons and rapidly healing their injuries.
They're badly hurt not just physically, but their souls as well.
Lin Moyu said after a glance, already understanding the details. Antares suppressed his anger.
Can you heal them?
Lin Moyu replied,
No problem, but let's not rush. We should find out what happened first.
All the dragons were unconscious. Antares breathed dragon breath over the Sky Dragon.
Aobai, wake up.
The Sky Dragon's name was Aobai, and he was distantly related to Antares, almost like a brother. Aobai slowly woke under the dragon breath. Seeing Antares, he immediately cried out,
Crown Prince, run! Heh, it's too late.
A cold laugh rang out as a formation appeared, enveloping the world and trapping Lin Moyu and Antares inside.